everybody, it's Anthony here at the North 40 Fly Shop in Lewiston. Today we're going to be tying Anderson's Euphoria. Pretty basic pattern, only 6-7 materials on it. It's pretty easy, but it's a really good fly to have in your box. We're going to be tying it on a Daiichi 2051 size 5 salmon hook with a black 140 ultra thread. We're going to have a Vivus green holographic tinsel for our tag end of the fly, ultra wire medium silver for a rib, ice dub golden brown making up the body of the fly. We're going to have a little bulb at the front of ice dub in chocolate brown, a couple strands of Flashabou in ice blue pearl, so add a little bit of wiggle and flash to it. And then our front wing of the fly is going to be a ring neck rump hackle in lemon yellow, and we're going to finish it up with a mallard flank dyed wood duck. We'll get started on that here in a second. So we've got our 2150 Daiichi size 5 already in the vise. Our next thing to do, we're going to get our thread started here, and we're just going to wind that back until the point of the hook. Give that a snip. I've got a piece of green Vivus holographic tinsel here. We're going to get that on my side of the thread, and then we're just going to push it away from us and just drag it right to the top of the hook. Pull up on the tinsel, pull down on the thread, and that's just going to lock it right in place. And then we're going to make a couple wraps backwards to about the barb of the hook, and then start coming forward again to the point of the hook. And now we've got 2 strands of Vivus here, and we're gonna just start winding that forward back towards our thread. And then once we get to our thread, we're gonna put a wrap on top of it. And then just hold this Vivus forward a bit. We're gonna give it a couple wraps moving forward. Just lock it in extra tight. Cut off our excess. Then we're going to run backwards again until the point of the hook. We're going to add ice dub in golden brown. Actually, first we're going to add an ultra wire in a medium silver. And this wire is pretty hard on scissors, so you want to make sure you either got 2 scissors or you're cutting it way back on the back end of your scissors, because if you're just using your points, you're going to dull out your scissors way faster than you really need to. Set that on top, and then do some forward wraps to get that wire in place. And again, we're going to come backwards, back to the point of the hook. Let that wire just sit. Next step, ice dub, golden brown. We're going to dub a body on here. We're going to use quite a bit of dubbing. This is kind of a fat-bodied fly. So just keep dubbing and wrapping. Give yourself a nice fat body. If you can put a taper on it, that's great too. And as we're moving forward, we always want to be conscious of the eye of the hook. We don't want to keep just adding material until you get right up to the eye and it's like, oh geez, I've got 3 more things I need to put on here. So we'll just put one more dubbing noodle on here in the golden brown. And we'll call that good for golden brown. Next step, ice dub chocolate brown. We're just going to put a little bulb of this on there. That's good for the chocolate. Now we got our wire, and we're just going to start doing some wraps forward on this. Maybe 6, 7 wraps. We'll tie that off right in front of the chocolate. And again, way back on our scissors to cut that wire. Next step, we've got some Flashaboo and an ice blue pearl, and we're just going to take 2 strands of that. And same as we did with the Vivas, we're just going to take that and push it away from us, get it up to the top to where we can lock that into place. And we'll just fold that back and give it 2-3 wraps to make it fall backwards like that. Next step, we have a ringneck rump hackle in lemon yellow. To prepare our feather, we can see we've got wispy stuff up on top, and then we've got kind of this webby stuff on the bottom. We're just going to peel all that webbing off the bottom. We are not going to use that at all. So now your feather is just going to look like that. Good stuff. Bald stem. And we're going to hold it by the tip so you can see there's a main beam running up it and all these wispy fibers coming off. So we're just going to try and grab on that main beam and then fold some of these fibers back. So we've got kind of a break in the feather right there, and that's where we're going to tie it in on top, right on top of our hook. Give it a few wraps, and then we'll take this front beam and we'll just fold it backwards and then do a few more wraps on top of it, and that's just going to lock it in nice and tight. And we can snip off that front part that we folded back. We'll grab our main beam. I always like to get my fingers a little wet and just kind of massage these fibers back a little bit. And then we'll give this 2 to 3 wraps, kind of working it, making sure we're not trapping fibers under fibers. So that's 3 wraps. I'm going to call that good there. We want to keep this main beam hold up tight. Then we kind of jiggle our thread to get it in there, and then tie across that main beam to get it locked into place. Then we'll just give that a little bit of a snip. Being careful not to cut some of these fibers too. And we'll just take those and pull them back. 2-3 wraps, because we want that fly to kind of sit backwards like this. So we'll just wrap right on top of these fibers to make them kind of combed backwards. Next, mallard flank, dyed wood duck. Same thing as the pheasant. We've got bad fibers on the bottom, good fibers on the top. We're going to rip these off. And on this one, you don't really want to add a whole bunch to the front, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip off some of these fibers here on the side that I'm going to be wrapping it on, so we'll just have one side of fibers on here. Same thing, we'll pinch the tip, comb it back. So we've got our front, we got our back. Rip these fibers off. We'll take that break in the feather right there, and that's where we're going to tie it in on top of our hook. We'll take that front beam again, we'll just fold it back. A couple wraps. Snip that little extra bit off. Grab by the main stem. Get some of this other stuff that I pinched out of there. Just give it a couple wraps. Working those fibers backwards as we wrap it. That 3-4 wraps of that. Oops. Slipped off on me. Hackle pliers can be helpful in something like this. Then we'll just take our thread and again give it a little bit of a wiggle, get it in there on top of that main beam, lock it in so we can snip off that main beam. Again, we'll just start combing stuff backwards and wrap over top of it again. A few wraps to lock that into place. And we're about right there, so we're going to take our whip finish tool. Oops. Tighten down my vise. Let's give it 2 whip finishes. Snip that thread. We got some super glue. Just hit it with a little bit of super glue. Then, since we have an extra feather here, what we will do, got a little sloppy with my glue, so we'll take an extra feather that still has some fibers on it and we'll just slide it right through the eye of that hook. What that's going to do, those fibers are just going to grab that glue, clean out the eye of the hook for you, and that's that. Anderson's Euphoria.